Hi, good afternoon. This is Mr. Cassidy, and this is our Chapter 1 study guide. We are going to go over every single problem. Guys, if you don't need the answer to number 1, skip ahead. This is not a video where you need to watch every single thing. It's purely to help you with the mistakes you may be making in your work. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into it. So we have our first 3 problems on the study guide are all one-step equations. To solve, remember, we always do the opposite. Problem 1, subtract 3 from both sides, and we would get z is equal to a negative 9. All right, and how we did that? We subtracted from each side. Remember, some questions may ask you, how did you solve it? We subtracted because that was the opposite of addition. All right, on the next one, to solve this equation on problem 2, I would divide by negative 0.2. And calculators are okay, so if you want to use a calculator to solve that, you would get the answer for t. I don't have a calculator on this screen, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to do it in my head. Let's see here. If I divide it by 2, it would be 1.3, but it's 0.2. So I'm going to say it's negative 0.13 is our answer. All right, next one. We have n divided by 5, but it's a negative equals negative 2. I'm going to multiply both sides by a negative 5 to undo that division, times negative 5. And that's going to cancel out with the negative and the 5 and get n is equal to a positive 10. Okay, carrying on. Let's go further. Problem 4 is a two-step equation. Remember to work outside in. The furthest number from y is 11, so I'm going to remove it first. I'm going to subtract 11 from both sides, and I would get 3y equals negative 27. Awesome. From here, I'm going to just do our one-step equation. 3 is multiplied by y, so I'm going to divide by 3. Here I get y is equal to a negative 9. Okay, problem 5. The first step I see is that I've got n's on the left-hand side that can be combined. Let's combine those like terms. 1n can be combined with 5n to make 6n's plus 7 equals 43. Okay, from here I'm going to go ahead and solve for n. Same steps as the last problem. First I work outside in, subtracting 7 from both sides, and I get 6n equals 36. There we are. And from there, I would divide by 6 on both sides, and I get n is equal to 6. All right, moving on. Problem 6, I see I've got parentheses. Well, remember, we want to simplify before we solve. So the easiest way is typically to distribute. There are other ways to do these problems, and some of you might choose to do those, but I'm just going to cover the one method with the class. So here I'm going to do a negative 4 times each thing inside. And here's how I taught you how to write it. I would do negative 4 times positive 2z. Give it some space because I don't know if it's addition or subtraction. Negative 4 times positive 6 minus 12 equals 4. Next, I'm going to actually do the multiplication and find the sign. Negative 4 times 2z is a negative 8z. Negative 4 times positive 6 is a negative 24, and minus 12 equals 4. Next step, I'll combine my like terms. Negative 12 and negative 24 can be combined. Get a negative 8z is equal to a negative 8z minus 36 equals 4. And we'll work outside in. Add the 36 to both sides. And we get negative 8z equals 40. From here, we divide by negative 8, and we're left with z is a negative 5. Okay, on the next equation, it's a tiny bit more challenging because we have the fraction. We're still going to distribute as before, and then simplify, and then solve. Let me go ahead and erase so I can do the second problem, problem 7. All right, so we have 3 halves times x, and then we have a 3 halves times a negative 2, and then we have a minus 5 equals 19. Okay, on this problem, I'm going to multiply the first term, 3 halves x, And then this becomes subtraction because it's a negative. 3 halves times negative 2, I can simplify by cross-canceling here and get negative 3. Minus 3 is the answer there. Minus 5 equals 19. Combine my like terms. Negative 8 here equals 19. 3 halves x is still in the front. Okay, I'm going to add 8 to both sides and get 27 equals 3 halves x. Now this is our one trick that I believe I taught in the weird problems video. And what we do is we can multiply each side by the reciprocal. It's just a trick to remove a fractional coefficient. So 3 halves is a fraction, it's a coefficient of x. I can multiply it by 2/3 on both sides. 2 over 3. I'm going to go ahead and make 27 a fraction so I can multiply that. Awesome. Now the reason I do that, the reason I flip over that fraction is because then reducing is really easy. Hold on, let me get a different pen. 2 divides by 2 to make 1. 3 divides by 3 to make 1. So now all I'm left with is 1x. That's my goal, x to be isolated. Here 27 divides by 3 to get 9. And now both of those are 9 over 1 times 2 over 1. 9 times 2 is 18 over 1. That's our answer. All right, carrying on. Problem 8. We have two fractions and we can combine them like terms. They have the same denominator, so it's actually not too much work because remember, we can combine them by adding the numerator. So we would do 1 plus 7 over 5w. So we're going to combine those and get 8/5 w. Okay, so let me go ahead and write the rest of the problem. We have 6 equals 8/5 w minus 4, and we're going to start solving outside in. Add the 4 on both sides and get 10 equals 8/5 w. And now I'm going to do that same trick as the last problem. I am going to flip over the answer, flip over the fraction here to cancel it out. Remember, if you don't understand that and didn't watch the last problem, go back to the last problem to see how I did that or why. Everything cancels out nicely and I get w equals. Here I can simplify a little bit, dividing both of those by 2, and I get 5 times 5 over 4, which is 25/4 is my answer. Okay, the next problem. Now there is a problem just like this. If you missed this one, you might want to review how to do it. What we're going to do is find the sum of the angle measures, which is 180. Well, the sum of these means I need to add up the 3 corners of the triangle. So I would write 110 plus 5x plus 2x equals 180. I apologize for my dog barking. 1 second. Shh. Usually that works. All right, so next I'm going to combine my like terms. 5x and 2x are combined to make 7x plus 110 equals 180. I'm still just solving for x to get my first answer here. Next, I'm going to subtract 110 from both sides, and I get 7x equals 70, which is nice and easy. Now I can divide both sides by 7. Sorry about that. And that gives me x is equal to 10. Yay, I got the first answer. Notice, guys, if you got it marked wrong because you put the degree sign, I'm sorry about that. That's a stupid mistake on Big Ideas. Apparently, you don't need the degree sign in these answers. On the second one, what we're doing is we're going to use that information to find what 5x is. So this corner has to be 5 times 10 degrees. So 5 times 10 is 50. That's our answer. And this answer, we have 2 times that x. Well, x was 10, so 2 times 10 is 20. And those are our 3 answers for problem 9. All right, solve the equation 3n minus 3 equals 4n plus 1. Well, I can rule out a few answers here. All real numbers is the same as infinite solutions. That's what we mean by all real numbers. That's when n can be anything. I can rule that out because it is not identical. Identical is when it's infinite solutions. It's not identical. 3n is different than 4n, and also because those coefficients are different, it's not a no solution problem either. Remember, it would have to have the same amount of n with a different constant to be no solution. So I can just solve this. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 3n from both sides and just get n plus 1 on the right equals negative 3 on the left. Subtract the 1 to get n is equal to negative 4. All right, number 11. Here I'm going to distribute, and I would get 5 plus 5x equals 5x plus 5. Hey, I noticed those are identical. Remember, we covered identical means infinite solutions, which is the same as marking all real numbers. Okay, carrying on. Problem 12, absolute value. We already have this isolated, so now is the time for two cases. Y plus 3 equals positive 17. That's case 1, the positive one. Case 2, y plus 3 equals negative 17. Here I'm going to subtract 3 to solve and get y is equal to 14. Here I'm going to subtract 3 to solve and get y is equal to negative 20. Remember, we have two answers to put in, so you put in both, 14 and negative 20. Right, on this one, do not distribute. I know that's what we were just doing, but first we want to isolate. Remember, that means removing these extra things from the side that the absolute value sign is on. Let me go ahead and work on that over here. All right, first I'm going to remove the 9 because that's the outside in idea. This 2 is grouped with the 5w minus 7. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the 9 first. Subtract 9 on both sides, and we get negative 16 on the right equals negative 2, absolute value of 5w minus 7. Well, when we see a number up against the absolute value, it's the same as parentheses where it's being multiplied, but we want to undo it. So we're going to divide by a negative 2. In this case, that leaves us with absolute value 5w minus 7 is equal to a positive 8. Now we do our cases. Case 1 is going to be 5w minus 7 equals positive 8. And case 2, I'll have to do here, is 5w minus 7 equals negative 8. Notice there's no longer the absolute value bars. Up till here, we kept the bars. The force field is here. This is when we break it free. I'm going to add 7 on both sides and get 15 equals 5w. And here I would divide by 5 to solve and get w is 3. Okay, on my second case, I can go ahead and fill that in here. I add 7, and I get a negative 1 equals 5w. I'm going to get a bit of a fraction here. I divide by 5, and I get my answer is a negative 1 over 5. Negative 1/5 is my answer to the second solution. Okay, our last ideas are literal equations, and that's what the last few problems are. Solving for y means basically keeping the x in the problem. We're going to get x in the answer, but we need to isolate the y. So we get 2x minus 4y equals 20, and I want to isolate the y. So I'm going to remove the 2x just the way I would if I was moving 2x to the side in another problem. Since it's a positive, I'm going to subtract 2x. And I get a negative 4y. Bring that minus sign down. That is a fatal flaw if you don't bring the negative sign down. Equals 20 minus 2x. My last step is to remove the negative 4. Since negative 4 is multiplying by y, I'm going to divide by negative 4. And I get y is equal to this giant fraction. Well, I can simplify this. This is the same as saying 20 over negative 4 minus 2 over negative 4x. I can simplify it just a tiny bit more because y is equal to 20 over negative 4 is a negative 5. And negative 2 minus a negative, that would be minus a negative is plus, and 2 divided by 4 is 1/2 x. Okay? All right. That's going to be my answer here in the simplest form possible. If you stop here on the test, I'll probably give you most of the credit. I may take off a single point out of 60, but it won't kill your score. All right, solving the literal equation for y. Here we have the y, and I need to move everything else. 8x minus 3 equals 5 plus 4y. Very similar to the last problem. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides and get 8x minus 8 equals 4y. And my last step is to divide by the coefficient. Divide by 4 on both sides, and I get y is equal to 8 divided by 4. Again, I can do the same steps here. I'm going to divide each of these by that denominator. 8 divided by 4 is 2x, because the x is still there. Negative 8 divided by 4 is a negative 2. My answer is 2x minus 2. There. Okay, last few. 16. We have a literal formula given to us, the volume of a pyramid. Volume is 1/3 of the base times the height. And what we want to do is isolate the y. We want to solve the formula for h, just like solving for y on the other problems. How I undo this 1/3 is by multiplying both sides by the reciprocal. Since this is all multiplying, 1/3 is a coefficient. It's just like what I was doing. You can find my earlier problem somewhere around 7 or 8 with the fractions to see why I do this. So I multiply by the reciprocal, and that removes the fraction. I get base times height equals 3 times v. I don't need the divided by 1. Both of these are whole numbers because they are divided by 1. Next, I'm going to remove the base. Well, because that's with h. And the opposite of multiplication is division, so I divide by base, and that is my answer. Height equals 3v over b. Capitalization counts here because they imply volume and base are capital letters here. You have to use capital letters in your answer. 3 capital V over capital B is our answer there. Now, part B of this is solve the height. To solve the height, we're going to use the information in the picture, the volume and the base, in the formula we just made in part A. So I'm going to go ahead and write my formula. Height equals 3 times volume over base. And then I'm going to substitute each of those numbers in for the letters. Height is equal to 3 times 216 over 36. This is centimeters cubed and centimeters squared. And while I'm not covering it now, I'm going to go ahead and solve it correctly. Height is equal to, now I'm going to cancel a bit here, 3 divided by 36, that is 1 over 12. Centimeters cubed over centimeters squared, the centimeters are going to cancel out and leave just 1 centimeter on top, centimeter to the first. And 216 divided by 12, I've already solved this. You could use a calculator. It's 18 centimeters. Done. All right, problem 17. Here we've got a word problem. You have something just like this once or twice on the test. Discounted amusement park ticket costs $12.95 less than the original price P. Write and solve an equation to find the original price. And they give us the discounted price is 44. So we know it equals 44. We just need the equation. So $12.95 less than the original price P. Well, less than, as we learned, than sort of means flip it over here. So P starts. Less than is subtraction, minus $12.95. All right, so all we need to do is copy P minus $12.95 here. And that answer is correct. The original price of the ticket is, well, we just need to solve for P. P minus $12.95 equals 44. And add $12.95 to each side. And if you wanted to do this with decimals addition, you would do it like that and get P is equal to 56.95. All right, last problem of the day. A baker orders 162 eggs. Each carton contains 18 eggs. Words like each, you may recall, each means multiplication from the video on word problems. Which equation can you use to find the number of X cartons? Well, they're ordering 162 eggs. That's our total. That sounds like a total, which means it's going to be equal to 162. So we can already rule out this one. Here we just need to decide, is it 18 times X? Is it 18 or X divided by 18 or X plus 18? Well, it says each is containing 18 eggs, so we have the number of cartons times 18 equals 162. Then we can solve it by doing 18x equals 162 and dividing by 18. That will solve, I'm going to have to do long division. I'll have to end it with long division. So 18 doesn't go into 16. I'm going to guess maybe 9 times here. Let me test that. 9 times 8 is 72. 7 plus 9 is 16. Hey, it worked out. So there are 9 cartons ordered. All right, that concludes our study guide. Testing reminders. If you made it this far, awesome. Thank you. I hope it pays off and it'll help you with the test. We begin the test live during class. That means if you are in period 1 or 2, you're going to be doing the test Tuesday, starting in class and finishing asynchronous time from 2:30 to 3:15. Okay, if you are in period 6 or 7, you are going to start the test Wednesday from in class live, and then you finish it 2:30 to 3:15. That's the only time. So make sure you're ready to tune in then. As always, please don't cheat. This is your integrity. Integrity is upholding and doing the right thing. Even when you could do the wrong thing, it means doing the right thing even when no one's looking. I would strongly encourage you. It is to your benefit always, and I will always work with you on the grade. But I would strongly encourage you, please don't cheat. Don't be tempted to. And if there is cheating happening, please report it. It goes a long way. It just isn't worth it for somebody to sacrifice that integrity over a number grade or a letter on a piece of paper. This is really up to you. As soon as you're done, you must submit your scratch paper. Please at least have number 1, 5x equals 20, whatever the problem is, and your answer, x equals 4, solved. Now, if it's a simple problem like that you don't need to show your work on, that's up to you. But I would strongly encourage you. You will do better if you just show your work and are careful. You must submit that paperwork on Google Classroom. There is the slide. You will open and paste it in. I will release scores Wednesday night. That's after period 6 and 7 are done. Wednesday night, you can check your grade. Let's set a goal of after 5 p.m. By 5 o'clock p.m., you can go to Big Ideas website and see how you did. Now, that number will not be the actual number you get on the test, because let's say you get, 16 out of 8 out of 20. That means you only missed 4 problems. Well, those 4 problems would take you down to an 80% if that was actually how I was grading it. But you also are getting points for the shown work. So you get 20 points for the shown work. And then the actual test is going to be worth 40 points. So that means 32 out of 40. This is 20 out of 20. And we're just going to add them together, not using any rules of math, and get 52 out of 60, which puts you at about an 86 or an 85%, which is actually much better than it would have been had you just taken the test on the computer. Now, note, any score below an 80% can retake. That's another motivation for not cheating. I would be happy for you to retake it. It's easy. You can retake any chapter once. So you get one more try before the end of the trimester whenever you want. Please just reach out to me. Now, if you have a B range grade and are shooting for an A, I'll help make that happen. We have plenty of time and we can work on it on the following chapter. All right. I thank your minds and your hearts as always, and I wish you a good math afternoon.